Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets for the past, our fears of the future, and our worries of today. But may it light for us a path of joy and peace.
We give thanks for this day and for these people and for all people who have enriched our lives. We give thanks for the gift of life with all of its pain and joy, its struggle and triumph. We give thanks for love which created us, which revives us and links us to others in struggle and in joy. And we give thanks for the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the ability to feel, and the imagination to see beyond the obvious. We give thanks for the spirit of creativity that inspires and encourages, that brings novelty in the midst of familiarity and risk in the midst of comfort, that surprises us in the midst of the commonplace. We give thanks by giving to others in return for all that we have received. May we gather and give thanks together here today. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. My pronouns are they, them. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Des Moines, which stands on the land of the indigenous Iowa people. I'm so glad you're here today.
And welcome again from me, Barbara Martin, she, her, hers. And thank you for joining us in this place where we strive to grow, serve, and love. We welcome everyone engaged in a reasonable search for truth and meaning, no matter where you are in your life journey or religious exploration. Whether you are right here physically and dressed for the day or elsewhere in your pajamas, we are so grateful that you are here, and especially nice to see Hazel out there today. Our first song, number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I make my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, will not
And now we welcome Doug Opperly, who has a spotlight for us. And he's going to tell us what tag is. No, he's going to tell us what he's going to tell us. Okay.
Hello, yes, I am Doug Opperly, he, him. I wanted to start off my comment today by mentioning that this year marks the 30th anniversary of First Unitarian Church becoming, completing the process to become a welcoming congregation to the LGBTQ community. And it was one of the first congregations in the UUA to do that. But being a welcoming congregation is not a one and done thing. Rather, it's something that we continuously work to broaden and deepen that welcome over time. And one way that this church has most visibly expressed its welcome is through the Capital City Pride Parade, which it's participated in for decades, I think. And that parade, after a pandemic hiatus, is back again today over at the state capitol, and we're wanting to invite you all to join us and march in the parade. It's a less than a mile route. The meeting place starts on the east side of the state capitol. Just look for all the colors and balloons and things. You can't miss the staging area. Wear your favorite UU Pride t-shirt, or if you don't have one, any kind of Pride attire you like. It's supposed to be warm, so bring water if you need it, and wear good walking shoes. As I said, the parade route is about 9/10 of a mile, and it's mostly downhill, so it's not too bad if you're concerned. So I hope you'll come out and join us. Oh, and if you ordered a t-shirt, a new t-shirt, I believe someone will be distributing those out in the gathering area after the service, or at the parade grounds. Thanks.
Our offering words today are done with my normal seriousness. Admit it, you're gonna miss the bad jokes. Two Unitarians were marooned on an island. One man paced back and forth, worried and scared, while the other man sat back and sunned himself. The first man said to the second, "Aren't you worried? We're about to die." "Nah," said the second man. "I give 10,000 a month to the church. My pastor will find us." So give generously today and every week. You never know when you may get marooned. The morning offering will now be given and received. There'll be a link in the chat. One half of our plate goes to the internal social justice programs of the church, and one half to our faith and action partners, Knock and Drop and Just Voices. Please settle into a comfortable position, take a few centering breaths, and join me as we enter into a 1-minute period of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. We are the church of the open mind and the loving heart, and we are here in part to bear witness and minister to one another in the good times and the bad times and every time in between. We are a community of human hands and human hearts, and this is the time in our service where we speak aloud briefly the names of those who we wish to hold in our hearts this week, and where we share the good and the bad. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May the work of our hands and our hearts support, aid, and comfort those who hunger or thirst for food or water, justice or freedom. May we never look away when we are needed. May those who are grieving be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Together we light 3 candles, one for joys and sorrows that we've shared, one for names that we've spoken, and one last candle for all of those joys and all of those sorrows which are deeply held but which remain unspoken here today.
The first reading is mainly several quotes from a guy named Alan Hirsch, who is the CEO of a biotechnology company called Biophysica Incorporated. Art can open a communication portal between science and religion, but it is much more than that. To perceive art as a bridge between science and religion, one first has to define legitimate overlapping truths in each of those cultural realms. All fields of human thought have in common the notion that it is a crucial task of humanity to uncover what is hidden in the world, says Hirsch. Religion seeks to insert intrinsic meaning in human existence, to claim that we have a power to evolve ever so slowly into a more noble state, while science seems to understand the quantitative reality of our existence without asserting that this leads in any particular direction. Art, by actualizing what lies hidden beneath the surface of our perception, sensitizes us to meaning, says Hirsch, who is also a digital artist. Thus, art is perhaps our most powerful way of challenging both science and religion to confront each of their limitations. Our special music this morning, the notes and rhythms are brought to us by the creativity of Johannes Brahms and the execution by the creativity of Bruce Martin. Thank you, Bruce. Our second reading is called Creativity as Spiritual Practice by Rabbi Adina Allen. The way many of us in the Western world were schooled, creativity was conflated with artistic aptitude. If we weren't skilled at drawing still life, we were left to conclude, or more detrimentally, told explicitly by some well-intentioned adult, that we were not creative. Yet the Torah teaches that creativity is our very birthright. And this rabbi helps us to realize that. Start with where you are. Wherever you are is the perfect place to begin, regardless of your perceived talent or ability. Creativity resides naturally within you, as it does within us all. You do not need any special skills or training to engage in creativity as a spiritual practice, just a willingness to begin and an openness to explore. Start with who you are. Get quiet, go inward. Are you happy, angry, agitated, yearning? What's life for you? Creativity is a way of being with what is, the good, the hard, and everything in between. It allows us to more deeply know it and ultimately to transform it. Start with what you have. Creativity as a spiritual practice can happen just as easily, and sometimes more so, with simple materials that you already have on hand. A ballpoint pen, some paper, bare feet on the earth, a pile of sticks or leaves on the front porch, of your own voice. No need to go out and buy fancy supplies. Part of the spiritual practice is coming to see the ordinary in the extraordinary. Get started. Pick up a material that intrigues you, a color that sparks your interest, and begin. When creating, we often tend to overthink what we're doing. We want to map out the process and know exactly what the end product result will be. Instead, try the reverse. Allow each brush stroke, each note, each move to lead to the next, rather than predetermining a plan. Be with what is and let that be the inspiration for what will be next. Free your mind. Follow what has energy for you in each moment, bringing a particular image into focus, adding blue, the sound of a particular word in the flow of a sentence. Let the intellect relax as you engage your other ways of knowing, intuition, and imagination. And keep going. There are many stages to the creative process. Often after an initial round of painting or composing, we become attached to what we've created, and we don't want to wreck it. But we know the piece is not yet done. Find a way to record what you have and then keep going. Often the resistance that we feel to letting a piece shift and change is a precursor to creative breakthrough. Creativity is a way of moving beyond all we think we know and tapping into the place of all possibilities. We're now going to test our creativity in a song. All right. And it's in the Teal book, and the words will be on the screen. 10:24.
How many verses are we going to test?
Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4. Okay. We didn't meet ahead. Okay.
gotta do when the Spirit says do. I gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta do when the Spirit says go. You gotta go when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 Let's sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing. Oh Lord, got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Look up. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says. That was 3. Oh, let's go with his ending, okay? Spirit says, Spirit says, sing. All right.
Keeping you on your toes this morning. The fine arts are interesting to write a sermon about because no two of us agree on what is good. No two of us agree on what is interesting or frightening or ugly. Somebody once said, art is sort of like pornography. I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it. And if any of you have ever gone to a gallery that specializes in modern art, you will also often hear people say, well, my 3-year-old could have done that. About 65,000 years ago, a Neanderthal, for the first time, ground up red ochre pigment. It's a type of dirt, if you want to be specific. And they mixed it with either fat or water. And they used it to smear some lines on a cave wall. And that hominid became the first artist. They were painting a picture. And it's fascinating to watch how they did it. Sometimes they'd fill their mouth with paint and blow through a straw onto the wall, using a hand or another body part to block out parts so it made designs. Other times they used their fingers or a honeycombed piece of bone. 65,000 years ago, we weren't even humans yet. Art and music have been with us since our hominid ancestors learned how to smear, brush, and spit paint. Dyed and decorated seashells found in the Avernus Sea Cave in southeast Spain were made by Neanderthals even further back, 115,000 years. Somebody covered in hair with a big brow ridge went and found pretty shells and didn't just appreciate them, they went and got red ochre and they made designs on them. That's amazing. Drums began almost as early. The first drums were a chunk of wood and a bone or a stick, or a rock and a bone or a stick, and they did heartbeat. 40,000 years ago, the first vulture bone and mammoth ivory flutes were added in. What does this mean? It means we have always been a people of the arts. It's inside us. Now, the really interesting thing about it is that art and music come from myth and magic. They were religion before religion was religion. And the really amazing thing is they don't have the weight on them that most religious practice does. These things all weave a spell of contrast from the real. They're more vivid, more visceral, more heightened. They touch something in you, the music you love, the art that you appreciate. They touch something in our perceptions, and they suggest that there's a deeper reality than the one we just experience through science. Now, philosophers have argued for ages about the relationship between religion and art. German philosopher Hegel, he believed that religion was more important than art in what he called the evolution of the spirit toward higher form. But as the 19th century progressed, artistic minds argued that it was art, not religion, that would rise to the top and even replace traditional religion as the center of what we would call the holy or the sacred. Oscar Wilde felt that art allowed meaning making in an increasingly secular society, led by what he called a dreary worship of facts. You gotta love Oscar Wilde. But it makes sense. If a Catholic and a Jew and a Buddhist and a UU sit down together, it's challenging for us to attend a religious service together. But we can all look at that piece of art. We can talk about how it makes us feel. We can talk about what it draws us to. By expressing the mysterious sense of existence, art endows our sojourn with authenticity and constitutes the sole spiritual task, claims writer Stephen Millarm. More and more, writes Matthew Arnold, mankind will discover that we have to turn to poetry to interpret life for us, to console us, to sustain us. Without poetry, our science will appear incomplete, and most of what now passes with us for religion and philosophy will be replaced by poetry. Truth has to be beautiful for him. Truth has to flow in an artistic way. The fine arts help us make sense of the world. Painting and sculpture, yes, but also graffiti, street art, graphic novels, animations. They may be the closest thing we have to modern day sacred text. Artists create, critics interpret. The rest of us try to understand the meaning of canvas, splashed with random lines and shapes. We go to sacred shrines that we call museums, art galleries, to explore the mysteries. If you go into a modern church, people are talking and laughing and they're having fun as they come in. Most churches, people have coffee, sometimes we knit, but walk into an art museum. Hushed silence, deep thought, introspection. The art is touching something. Sometimes a piece of art or poetry or music hits us so hard that we feel it in our bones. When you look at Michelangelo's Pieta, you understand humanity a little better. You feel the pain of every mother who lost a child. You don't have to be Catholic. Every line of that sculpture teaches you what pain looks like. Art and music and poetry, they're all religious modalities. Alternative forms of religion, if you prefer that terminology. To quote Professor Richard Schusterman, to put it provocatively, art is simply the continuation of religion by other means. That's a marvelous quote. And the fun part is it's an alternative to the art of war, which says that war is the continuation of politics by other means. How amazing to turn that around and make it something positive. And why would we want religion to continue by other means? Because the world is not the simple kill or be killed world that our Neanderthal ancestors were born into. Religion is no longer the glue that holds the worlds together. I went looking for the most current statistics. In 2017, 25% of the globe identified as not a religious person and 9% as convinced atheists. That's from the Pew Research Center. Last year, only 29% of the adult US population said they'd been to a house of worship in the past 7 days. For those who do go to houses of worship, the world's busy fighting. Orthodox Jews throw rocks at secular Jews who don't go to synagogue. Catholics refuse communion to anyone they think isn't doing the right thing. Baptists fight with Mormons. UUs fight with ourselves. Religion tends more and more to be something we argue over rather than something that brings us all together. But while people can disagree over the meaning of a fine art piece, over a song or a painting or a sculpture, none of these things carry the same downside as religious practice. I want to read you a long quote, and this is from a lecture given in Polish by Richard Schusterman. He went to Krakow a few years back, and the whole lecture was amazing. He's talking about art as compared to religion. He says, art seems to be free of all the disadvantages that I just talked about, thus promising a more fruitful and satisfying way for the expression of wisdom and spiritual meaning, replete with abundant sensory, emotional, and intellectual pleasures. It provides the joys of mystery and myth without committing to our faith superstition, and thus inducing the bitter aftertaste of shame that our scientific conscience is likely to experience upon attempts to swallow discredited, otherworldly beliefs. As Arnold argues, art is where our intellectually evolving human race will find ever surer and surer stay. There is not a creed which is not shaken, an accredited dogma which is not shown to be questionable, nor a received tradition which does not threaten to dissolve, he writes. Our religion has materialized itself in the supposed fact. It has attached its emotion to the fact, and now the fact is failing it. But for poetry, the idea is everything. Poetry attaches its emotion to the idea. The idea is the fact. The strongest part of our religion today is its unconscious poetry. Not only poets, but philosophers have similarly advocated arts subsuming the role of religion. G.E. Moore, one of analytic philosophy's founding fathers, was the inspiration behind the Bloomsbury Group, if any of you are aware of that group. He wrote in 1902, "Religion is merely a subdivision of art, since every valuable purpose which religion serves is also served by art. While art perhaps serves more, since the range of good objects and emotions is wider. The idea that art provides a broader and more convincing alternative to religion has been reaffirmed in recent times by outspoken secular philosophers like Richard Rorty. In rejecting religion as the conversation stopper, Rorty champions the inspirational value of great works of literature, proclaiming the hope for a religion of literature in which works of the secular replace scripture as the principal source of inspiration and hope for a new generation. This artistic religion he calls an atheist's religion. Pluralistically liberal, it makes no claim to coerce behavior in the public sphere, but only to console us, individuals, in our aloneness by connecting us with something far greater and inspiring beyond us the marvelous world of great art, while guiding our efforts toward realizing both private perfection and more loving kindness to our fellow humans." What an amazing idea, a religion without religion. Human beings are called to create. It's a natural part of this artistic atheist religion. Art and music, the poetry of words. When we create, we are engaging in a spiritual practice that links us to our ancestors and provides a way for our descendants to know us better. And as our second reading said, you don't have to be someone else's idea of good. That first caveman looked at that wall and went, wow, that's amazing. That's exactly what I was trying to do. It was 3 lines. It spoke to them. Religion at its finest is a way to call humanity to be better, to become more. It helps us to grow spiritually and ethically and morally, to be the best people we can be, and so does art, and so does music or poetry. They call us to experience the world in sacred ways, in ways that make us learn and grow and be better. So go home today and experience some sacredness. Experience art or music or poetry. I don't care if it's the arrangement of leaves on your lawn. Maybe stop at the store and get a 78-cent thing of junk paint. Pick up some crayons. Get a pen. Look for some new artists on the internet. Meditate on what you find. Really think about it. Make a mess. Make an absolute mess. Enjoy yourself. Live in the divine gorgeousness of color and sound, because in the beginning God may have created, but now it's your turn. Be brave, be bold, be curious, enjoy yourself, and be blessed. Amen.
This is the easy part. Okay. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Lean on me, 1021 in the blue hymnal, the words on the screen. Please join me.
Blessed be the path on which you travel. Blessed be the body that carries you upon it. Blessed be the heart that has heard the call. Blessed be your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift you will receive by going. Truly, blessed is the gift that you become on your journey. May your journey be blessed. May you go forth in peace. Ashe, goodbye, and may it be so.